Welcome back to Turkey Week. In today's video, Carl's gonna show us how to deep fry a turkey without burning your house down. Yeah, get this, 4,300 people a year burn their house down deep frying a turkey. You don't wanna be one of those guys.
Okay, so we're going to fry a turkey. So let's talk a little bit about a turkey. You've seen a lot of dangerous things, and we're going to talk about that when we go out to the hot oil and that sort of thing. So frying a turkey doesn't have to be dangerous, and really is an incredible way to cook a turkey. You know, so we're going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts with frying a turkey today. So the first thing we've done, we've brined our bird, we've rinsed it. The one thing else we're talking about when we're frying a turkey, you want to get rid of everything plastic on the bird. There's these little things that truss the legs. You want to take that. These are basically worthless, these little thermometers. They don't do. You can take those, put them in the trash. And so then a lot of your flavor, you want to dry it off really good. You don't want any excess oil, especially when you're frying. That's what causes the grease to splatter and do a little bit, some bad stuff, and cause a risk for a fire. So dry it off really good, and even when you're done, let it air dry for a few minutes at room temperature so it's not going to hurt. The other thing, we want to remove some of these pieces of fat, and you'll see this piece on the back. I mean, it's just going to fry away and be a greasy mess you're not going to eat anyway, so we can get rid of these things. And next thing we're going to do is we are going to inject some butter. A lot of different injections. People are going to write in, they're going to leave comments saying my injection's better. It might be, that's okay. We're just using this as an example. We're going to inject some melted butter into this bird. So we'll take our injection needle, penetrate it, and you want to have several spots so you don't have flavor pockets. Again, into the breast of the bird. And this is going to help flavor the inside of the meat and help to really keep it from drying out. We've already brined it really good, so we don't need to inject it with a lot of spices and stuff like salt that have a heavy salt, because it's already got a good salt content. But it's kind of hard to inject too much butter. Everything's always better with a little bit of butter. And you'll see the meat puff up and swell up, so you know that butter is getting in there. And if you get a little on the outside, that's okay too. There we go. So we're ready to go. The next step is we're going to take it out and introduce it to the oil. So some of the safety tips when you're frying a turkey. Number one, 4,300 fires last year and 27 million in property damages, all from frying turkey. So we want to be sure we're very careful. One of the things, and one of the biggest reasons people have this problem, is they put too much oil in, they drop their turkey in, it overflows, ignites with the fire, and then they have a whole mess. And that's what you see on the internet all the time, people blowing up their house, frying a turkey, and it's a Vesuvian flare-up. So one of the things you want to do is, we've got our turkey in here on the stand that we're going to do it, and we're going to fill this up with water and mark the point at which the water covers the turkey. Then we're going to know how much oil to put in. And make sure you use a big enough pot. If you go to any type of store, outdoor store or cooking store, even Walmart, they sell turkey fryers that have more than enough space in the turkey to in the pot to cook the turkey. So that's important too. You don't want to try to do it in too small a pot just because you don't want to buy another pot. Go the extra step, spend the extra money. You can get a whole kit for 50 bucks in the store. So, and that includes the stand and everything. So always make sure you do the right thing. So this is getting closer, and you want to use cool water. Don't use hot water. Okay, so we got our pan full of water on our hanger that we're going to put. You can see it's totally covering the turkey. So a lot of people, what they do is they say, all right, I'm going to measure it right there. That's the oil I'm going to put in. Well, if you do that, you're probably going to get a bubble over and you're probably going to have a fire and a whole mess. You want to, at this point, take the turkey out, empty out the water that's in the cavity, move it to your bowl. This is the level that you'll want, and another good way to measure it, you can score the bottom of your deal, or you can kind of use your thermometer, and that'll measure exactly where we need to be. So that's where we need to fill the oil. So let's go out and fill the oil, heat it up, and get ready to cook a turkey. Okay, we're ready to put the oil in. Another safety tip that it causes a lot of people problems, they light their burner before they put the oil in. Again, we measured it out with the thermometer. We've also put a little score mark on here so we know exactly from where our water test was. Put this thermometer. Yeah, this is peanut oil. It's usually the best, has a very high flash point, smoke point. Usually all turkeys are cooked in peanut oil. And again, these come in 5-gallon buckets. And this bucket has taken us exactly to our mark. So we're ready to go. We will now light our fire and heat the oil. And when it gets to 325 degrees on our thermometer, we're ready to start frying our turkey. Okay, you'll notice we've got this away from our house. We've got it out in the middle of the yard, not on a wooden deck. Again, in a very safe place that if there's a problem, it's going to be more contained. Again, we're staying with the fire as the oil heats up. And so this way, we're going to be able to safely drop our turkey in here in a little bit when the oil heats up. And we'll talk about some more problems that can happen then. Okay, we're ready to light our fire. I've got the valve on our propane tank all the way open. This is our regulator. We'll want to turn it on. A lot of the new fryers have a safety switch so that when you turn your valve on, if you hold it down, light it for 10 seconds, it will stay lit. And open it up all the way, as far as it will go. And then you can take your pot with your oil and put it on there. And I think it's important to note, never leave your fire. You never know what's going to happen. Always have somebody with it, staying by it, and prepared in case there is an accident. Okay, oil is heating up. We got about another 50 degrees to go, and then we'll be ready to start frying. Another thing we want to mention, always invest in good, heat-resistant, fireproof gloves when you're working with frying a turkey. It's another safety point that is going to help you have a good experience as you fry your turkey. Also, when you put it out in your yard or wherever it is you're going to put it that is safe and away from the house and on a non-flammable surface, try to find as level of a ground as you could possibly find. That way your oil's going to be even, and when you fill it to your mark and you put your turkey in, everything's going to be great. So it's almost time to put the bird in. Stay tuned. Okay, another safety tip. We're getting ready to turn our turkey in. Our oil's at 325. We're getting ready to submerge it. The next thing you want to do, the first problem, if there is any flare up or boil over with your oil, if you get a little too much in it, if you turn your fire off and then relight it afterwards, after you get it submerged, it eliminates a lot of that risk, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn our fire off. Now we're going to put our turkey in and get ready to start frying. Okay, another point of safety tip, they give you these hooks to clip on to drop it in, and certainly if you got good gloves you could drop it in by hand, but there's an even safer way to do it. And we just got a metal bar. We're going to clip it onto our turkey. Again, our turkey is good and dry, and we are going to lower it very slowly into the hot oil with the fire off. And if there's any problem as you get ready, you can always lift it back out and go, but you're going to want to put it in. We know it's submerged. And now we can relight our fire. This particular model has a safety hinge that will allow you to keep the fire from getting out of control, and it also has a timer system on it that will allow you to time your turkey. When you're frying a turkey, figure about 3.5 minutes per pound. So this turkey, which is a 12 to 14 pound bird, is going to take about 42, 43 minutes. So we'll come back in that time and go from there. Okay, when you first put your turkey in, your oil is going to drop probably 25 degrees. Don't let that worry you. You've got your fire on maximum. And just remember, when you're cooking a turkey in a frying method, it gets really, really dark. So you're going to pull it out and you'll see it's probably darker than any turkey you've ever done in the oven, on the smoker, on the grill, wherever. So don't be alarmed by that. The meat inside that turkey is going to be perfectly cooked, and that charred skin really helps protect it through the frying process. Also, you notice we're cooking this uncovered. There's no need to put the lid on. Just make sure you're not in a rainstorm, no water's getting in it, and it's free from debris. Putting the lid on is just going to make it hotter and cause more chance for a boil over. So it's fine like this. We're going to check it here in a few minutes and the turkey will be done. Okay, our bird has been in for about 45 minutes. It's done. We've checked the temperature. So we're going to take it out, but you don't just jerk it out and put it down. First thing you do is you turn your gas off. That way there's no possibility of a fire from a drip or anything like that. So we've got our hook, we've got our fireproof gloves. The first thing we'll do, look at that, golden brown. Just let it hang there and let it drain for a second. Let any of that excess oil come off. We've got our pan here ready. It's got some paper towels in it to absorb any of the grease. And again, it may take a few seconds or up to a minute, but it's worth draining off. It's important to note that a lot of people ask us, what do we do with this oil when we're done? Well, there's a couple things. You don't want to just dump it in your yard or take it out and dump it on somebody's leaf pile or compost pile. You want to let it cool down thoroughly. It can be reused again if you strain it, clean it, and get it, and you can store it back in its original container after it's cooled off. Or if you want to dispose of it and use it only once, then wait till it fully cools, put it back in its original container, and then check to see locally what's the best way to dispose of it in your community. Some trash people will take it. Other places have organizations that will further dispose of it from there. So it's drained, it's ready. We're going to go over. We're not going to take it off its hook right now, but we are going to let it rest. Again, 20-30 minute rest. Let the juices kind of redistribute, and we'll go in. They'll be ready to carve in just a few minutes. Man, that turkey sure was good. Let's review some of the safety tips and why you can fry a turkey safely and not be one of the 4,300 that burns their house down every year and be part of the statistics. So first off, never try to fry a bird that's frozen. That's just gonna introduce a lot of water to your oil, cause boil over, and again, the potential for fire. You're gonna wanna make sure your bird is dry, and then you can, again, measure with the water like we showed you, and then also, then you're gonna know exactly where to put your oil. So it's gonna prevent the flare-ups that way. Season your bird with any injection that you wanted to do. Remember, we use some melted butter. You can do a lot of these flavored injections that are out there. And again, always take extra precautions. We used the pole when we dropped it into the water. We went very slow. We made sure our oil was heated up to the right temperature, which is 325 degrees. And we let it cook with the lid off, always staying near the fire. Our stand happens to have a safety mechanism on it, so that every 15 minutes it forces you to either relight your fire if you leave it, or to watch it and reset the timer. So that's always a good safety tip. If you can, always keep a fire extinguisher by if you want. Move it away from your house, find level ground to put it on. If you do all these things, let your bird rest, be careful taking it out, fireproof gloves. If you do this, frying a turkey is a great way and a great event for a lot of your guests to see, and you'll have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, well, thanks, Carl, for showing us how to safely deep fry a turkey. If you'd like the instructions on how to do that, click on the link below. You'll be taken to a PDF file that you can download and print off and use. Welcome back to Turkey Week. In today's video, Carl's going to show us how to deep fry a turkey without burning your house down. Yeah, get this, 4,300 people a year burn their house down deep frying a turkey. You don't want to be one of those guys.
Okay, so we're going to fry a turkey. So let's talk a little bit about a turkey. You've seen a lot of dangerous things, and we're going to talk about that when we go out to the hot oil and that sort of thing. So frying a turkey doesn't have to be dangerous, and really is an incredible way to cook a turkey. You know, so we're going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts with frying a turkey today. So the first thing we've done, we've brined our bird, we've rinsed it. The one thing else we're talking about when we're frying a turkey, you want to get rid of everything plastic on the bird. There's these little things that truss the legs. You want to take that. These are basically worthless, these little thermometers. They don't do. You can take those, put them in the trash. And so then a lot of your flavor, you want to dry it off really good. You don't want any excess oil, especially when you're frying. That's what causes the grease to splatter and do a little bit, some bad stuff, and cause a risk for a fire. So dry it off really good. And even when you're done, let it air dry for a few minutes at room temperature, so it's not going to hurt. The other thing, we want to remove some of these pieces of fat